weather stations that are in conflict. So, and tides, in case you don't know, we're at low tide right now. It's kind of not an extreme, but it's a very low tide. It's a -3 on the scale. That's pretty low for here. So that means we're moving into a high tide flood for the rest of the afternoon. For most people starting out in the race, it won't matter at all. It won't give you any hindrance or assistance. For those later in the race, it might actually give you a little assistance because the tide tends to flood in a clockwise pattern in Bellingham Bay. So if you're slower, that's good news. Weather and wind updates. Looks like it's probably going to be an afternoon like this. So in case things do pick up, and they often do in the afternoons here, we'll have updates on the whiteboard out at the launch ramp, right at the top of the ramp. So I'm going to talk. I'm Matt Carter. I'm one of the co-chairs with Larry Bussinger and my wife Penny Carter for the Kayak Leg. Welcome to Ski to Sea Kayak Leg. This is the best leg of the race, right? Okay, I'm going to cover 8 topics. I've already covered one, weather and tides. I'm going to talk about safety, pre-launch, timing and chip exchange, launching your kayak, the race course itself, and the finish line. I'm going to talk a little bit about rescue boats and rough water conditions. I don't think we're going to hit rough water, but I'm going to tell you what the options are. And the early release process. I want to put emphasis on that. So, leg safety. We talk always about safety, flow, and fun. That's our mantra here. Safety, flow, and fun. Safety means safety for the kayakers, safety for pedestrians here who are just here looking, and safety for all the volunteers. We've got over 50 volunteers here on land, probably another 20 out in the water. So we've got a big crew running this leg. We want everybody to be safe. We want to move this race along in an expeditious manner, and we want everybody to have fun and enjoy the process. So please bear that in mind as we go through this. Part of the safety, part of a public event like this involves security. So you may have noticed that there are uniformed policemen walking around. There are a couple of dogs walking around with those policemen. They're here all afternoon. They're part of the event now. And I hope you can understand why that's happening. I'm going to ask you to be very thoughtful about not leaving personal articles unattended, like backpacks. If these people find or see a backpack that's unattended, doesn't look like anybody belongs to it, it will be confiscated and it will be examined and it will be potentially not there when you want it. So please keep hold of your personal stuff. And lastly, if you see anything that in our mind or your mind would look questionable, anything about a public event, something happening in a public space that is questionable, I'm going to ask you to let us know, to take action on it, not assume that somebody else is going to see it and act on it. Assume that you're the one who saw it and you need to act on it by informing us, and we'll take it from there. So please bear that in mind. On-water safety. In case you're not familiar with Bellingham Bay, and usually about 200 of the racers are not, at least 200, Bellingham Bay is cold water. Regardless of the air temperature, we're roughly 60, 62 degrees right now. That bay is 50 degrees. That's cold water if you get wet. If you capsize and you're in the water for a little while, you're going to be cold within about 15 minutes. So our recommendation always, most of you know this already, is wear thermal protection, wear a wetsuit, a dry suit, some kind of shell, some kind of protection so that just from the spray or the rain and your body temperature so that you don't chill down, but especially from sudden immersion that you can take care of yourself. Safety for us means a seaworthy boat. So the inspection process, as you know, is new this year. We upped the ante on the length of the boat to 13 feet. That's the length at which we start to see front hatches, bulkheads, and rear hatches and bulkheads. That means the boat is seaworthy. That means if it capsizes, it doesn't sink at either end of the boat. So we want boats that are out in the bay that are seaworthy. As you know, in order to receive your tent number, you've got to go through the inspection process and pass. There's probably going to be some boats that don't pass. We know that there's some folks who've communicated with us in advance, and we've had those conversations, and they've made adjustments, I hope. But in any case, we're putting more emphasis on safety, as you know. Your team bib number should be visible in front at all times on the front and the back of your PFD. And that little tent number should be on the deck of your kayak. I don't care if it's in the bow or the stern, but it needs to be taped with masking tape on there so the boats out in the bay who are tracking you, and they're actually recording your number as you go by, the power boats, so they can see that number on you and on your boat. All racers must be capable of performing some form of remount or self-rescue. That means a paddle float rescue, a cowboy rescue, an Eskimo roll. Somehow, we're expecting you to have the competency to get back in your boat if you capsize. Now, I know that's potentially a challenge for some folks who are maybe new to kayaking or not quite that experienced, but that is the expectation we have, that you can take care of yourself out in the water in most conditions. The reality is some of you might have trouble doing that, so we have a lot of safety boats out there. There are safety kayaks, there are hard shell boats, there's all the law enforcement stuff, there's a lot of stuff out there, but in inclement weather, sometimes we get 30 to 40 capsizes simultaneously. And that means those rescue boats are really busy. They might not see you in choppy water for a little while, even if you're waving your paddle or something like that. So please be prepared. Please do your best to use your skills to get back in your boat and keep going, and hopefully everything will work out for everybody. Kayaks and surf skis must be paddled by one person. You all know that. Using a double-bladed paddle is the sole means of propulsion. Outrigger canoes can be paddled by one person using a single-bladed paddle, and they are allowed in all divisions except recreational. A paddle or boat leash is required for surf skis. We put that rule in place about 2 years ago, and we want that to happen. All boats must have watertight bulkheads, watertight hatches, or secure positive flotation in both ends of the boat. All paddlers are required to wear a Coast Guard approved life jacket, any kind, just as long as it's Coast Guard approved, and have a whistle. Your jacket is to be worn securely at all times. Any kayaker observed not wearing their life jacket or wearing it unzipped risks being disqualified. We recommend the use of spray skirts for all sit-inside kayaks, but only if you're skilled in how to do a wet exit and you're accustomed to using a spray skirt in a capsize situation. If you're not, don't wear it. Again, a recommendation, a pump, a paddle float, flares, any other signaling device, those are all useful devices to have, particularly if the bay kicks up. The recreational division is intended for non-competitive kayaks. You all kind of know that. For what that means to us is that most commercial kayaks qualify for this recreational division. And that means that they're wider than 0.095 times the overall length of the boat. So the entire inspection process down there is all about the length of the boat versus the width of the boat and whether it has flotation in the front and the rear. That's the basics. So if you've got those, you'll be qualified to be in this race. Pre-launch. We're in the pre-launch stage right now. That means you can park your boat anywhere on this grass. Obviously, you want to be down toward that end, down toward the dock ramp. Please do not attempt to park your boat now until your team number is announced. Do not attempt to put it on the dock or at the entrance, at the immediate entrance to the launch dock, or anywhere on the asphalt walkway, or anywhere on the far side of the asphalt walkway. Stay within the confines of this big grassy area that's the main park. We recommend that you put your team number on your paddle. So if you've already got your team number all over your boat, which you probably do, we suggest you also put it on your paddle with a piece of duct tape. When you get to Marine Park, you'll be jumping out of your boat, dropping your paddle. There'll be people there to volunteer and assist you, but you don't want to lose your paddle, so put your name on it. As openings become available out on the grass, feel free to move your boat up to a closer position. But as you do that, we usually have a lot of people around here. Please be thoughtful about picking your boat up and swinging it around and crashing it into somebody's head. We've had some incidents like that, and we'd like everybody to be conscious about that. The timing chip exchange. We expect, let's see, I just got word about the earliest mountain biker. The first mountain biker left Hovander about 20 minutes ago. Now, that's going to be the fast trackers, so somewhere between, it's going to be a wet course, so maybe 25 minutes, 30 minutes, I don't know. We should see a biker hitting this place, so roughly 1:45, 1:50, somewhere before 1, we should have our first kayaker heading out. Each incoming mountain biker's team number will be called out on the PA approximately 6 to 10 minutes before they arrive here. We've got spotters out about 6 to 10 minutes. So you need to keep listening for your team throughout the afternoon. When your number's called, you've got figure about 6 minutes to get yourself up here, get in line, get ready, and your biker arriving. When your biker crosses the finish line, you'll be able to step directly into the exchange area, take the timing chip wristband from them, and proceed through the timing gate. In the past years, the timing gate was basically a mat on the ground, and you kind of had to dip down low. Remember I was telling you, do the monkey kind of thing? For those of you who've been here before, you don't have to do that anymore. There are antennas around the entire canopy that you're going to be going through. So you're going through a bit of a tunnel of antennas. You run as fast as you want to. We'll pick you up. So we've got a whole new timing system this year. As you probably heard, we had a few problems last year. So new timing system, new people. It's really a great system, and I think we'll enjoy the results of that. Any kayaker taking a handoff in front of the designated mountain bike exchange will be disqualified. So once you get through the timing chute, please, you know the drill, run to your boat along the asphalt driveway, carry it to the launch stop, be careful. That launch ramp right now is, for those of you who've been down it before, it's very rough. If you fall, if you slip on that, you fall down, it will tear you up. And especially at the bottom of the ramp, it's a flat, rather slippery surface. It's metal. It's probably about 2 or 3 feet wide. Watch your footing at the bottom of the ramp. It is extremely slippery in this rain we're finding. Volunteers on the dock will direct you to an open launch spot. You're allowed to carry your boat with up to 2 people. Let's see. Kayaks can be launched from either side of the dock. Outrigger boats must be launched from the left side of the dock. Be careful of the cleats on the dock. They're a trip hazard. The race course. The map of the race course is posted up here. I thought it was other side of the door. There it is over there. If you haven't taken a look at it and you want to, that's where the course is. It shows both the long course and the short course. I don't think we'll be shifting to a short course today. It looks pretty decent out there. There are 5 race marker buoys on the course. Please note that any kayaker seen cutting a corner, starting with this year, will be subject to disqualification. So from the marina entrance over here, you'll paddle straight out to the outfall buoy. That's race buoy number 1. It's about a mile or so out, straight out into the bay. You'll notice the same huge orange floating balloon above it. You'll go around that buoy counterclockwise. From there, you paddle straight into the log boom. Essentially, see where the big ship is over here? You see the top superstructure of that ship. It's called the horizon lines. That's their sign on the side of the ship. If you leave the outfall buoy and head directly toward that ship, the right-hand nose of that ship, that's where you want to be. Buoy number 2 is just past the nose of that ship. You'll continue past buoy number 2 and you'll hit buoy number 3 at the north end of Boulevard Park. You'll go counterclockwise around that. In other words, you'll keep your boat between that buoy and the shoreline. You'll head straight down Boulevard Park. You'll go counterclockwise around the buoy number 4 at the end of Boulevard Park. Again, your boat is between the buoy and the shoreline. And then you head straight out to the orange race buoy. Clockwise. Did I say counter? Okay, sorry. So let's try that again. Boulevard Park, there's 2 buoys. At the north end is number 3. At the south end is number 4. You go clockwise around both. Thank you. The final buoy is out. It's number 5. It's again an orange race buoy. It's a short way off the concrete dock at Fairhaven, and you go around that counterclockwise, and then you go straight into Marine Park. When you land at Marine Park, as I said, there'll be volunteers there to help you with your boat. You jump out, deal with your paddle, and head up to the timing chute and ring the bell. Don't forget to give your wristband to the attendant at the finish line. There's a $95 replacement fee for those things. If you plan to paddle your boat away from the finish line, please inform the volunteers the moment you get out of your boat so they don't drag your boat up off the beach. The space at the beach is really confined, and they'll be moving boats as fast as they can off the beach. So if you plan to paddle away, let them know. If you plan to carry your boat up off the beach or move it out of the park, you got about 5 minutes to do that. At least that's their request. So either carry your boat to your car or paddle it out to the public launch ramps, either Fairhaven Boulevard Park or back here at Squelcombe Harbor. Please be aware that small boats, kayaks, are not allowed near the cruise terminal or near Coast Guard vessels parked in Fairhaven. Please stay away from them.
Dad, we have to listen.
If you come back to Squelcombe Park, and a lot of kayakers seem to do that, please do not try to use our launch dock for coming back into the park. That dock is meant for outgoing. It's going to be continuous outflow, and we'd like to not have a conflicting outflow-inflow situation. If you decide for any reason to not complete the race while you're out there on the water and you head for shore, please inform a race official. There are plenty of rescue boats either moving around on the bay or anchored positions. Please inform somebody that you're leaving the race, let them know your team number, and then everything will be fine. What we do is we track every boat that goes out. We track your team number, we track it during the course, and we track it at the very end at Marine Park. We know who launched, and we know hopefully who landed. And if those numbers don't match up, we're looking for somebody. So please help us out if you, for any reason, leave the course. If you have any issues related to infraction of race rules that you experience out there on the course, please inform officials at the finish line. Please don't distract any rescue boats with that kind of an issue. Rescue boats. As in prior races, there's going to be boats, as I've said, all over the course. Law enforcement, Coast Guard Auxiliary, rescue kayaks, several anchored committee boats, and so on. If you need assistance, if you really need assistance or help, wave your paddle or head out to one of those boats if you can. They're there for you. Hang on. Let me say this also. If you see a kayaker in distress, we're putting safety first. Safety first comes in front of winning the race or placing in the race or even finishing the race in our mind. So this is take care of each other time. I don't think we're going to have rough conditions again, but in case even these conditions overwhelm somebody and they're in the water and you don't see a safety boat heading their way, you become the safety boat. So please take care of each other out there. Okay. High winds. In case of high winds and rough water. I don't think we're going to have high winds, but who knows. We have three possibilities. How many of you have participated in this race before? Like last year or the year before? Plenty of you. Okay. You know we've had to shut the race down completely one time we had about 225 boats out on the course and we had to shut it down. It was up around 25 knots of wind and we were having one capsize after another. And then last year we had to go to a short course, so we knew that in advance. And that was an exciting time too. We had a lot of capsizes. So if it gets really rough out there, our first possibility is before the start of the leg, we'll do a last minute weather check, and if the sea conditions look really rough, we will shorten the course. That's not the case right now. We're going long course. Second possibility is if we determine weather conditions have deteriorated before the leg starts and we believe the conditions are so rough, we might cancel the course. We're not going to do that. Third possibility, we might suspend it in midstream. I don't think we're going to do that either. So the only thing that might happen is if somehow the winds get really rough and the bay really kicks up and we've got two-foot chop out there and we've got capsizes all over the place, we would look at, and the winds are around 20 knots, we would look at canceling the race. That's about the only possibility I think today.